Hi guys! Today I will talk about some design tips for designing a living, dining, open space concept. You guys asked me a lot about that, and here we have some concepts to design a room with a multiple purpose. Welcome back to D.Signers. I'm Saida Kuri, architect and interior designer, founder of D.Signers. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to join our design community and to turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos. Guys, remember to click like and to follow me on Instagram for daily inspiration and to get in touch. I really enjoy interacting with all of you and getting to know you guys. So as always, be free to ask. If you have any questions, please let me know in a comment below. I will respond to as many comments as I can. The dining living room open space concept is a very common feature today. Personally, I love the concept of an open space because you can feel the space more fluid, larger, brighter, and contemporary. However, it's true that here we have two different kinds of areas in the same space, where we will develop two or more different kinds of activities. So we need to define each one, we need to give them their own anchor, but always searching for the balance between each one, creating a harmonious composition. Define your style. You need to make your living and dining room speak to one another. My recommendation to achieve that is to maintain the same style or styles that you want for your home. This way, you will have a guide to follow up. For example, if you have a contemporary dining room with clean lines and contemporary finishes like black matte combined with wood, it doesn't make sense that your living room has an entire glam style appearance with shiny chandeliers and glitz, because the contrast is too strong and you will visually divide your room by the differences of each style. I'm not saying that you cannot mix and match styles. The point is to develop all the design with the same language. If your dining room is contemporary with a touch of glam, then your living room should have the same appearance and visual language. It should be contemporary with a touch of glam. So selecting the basic styles are crucial to develop a multi-purpose room in harmony, and it will be the guide to select your furniture, color palette, accessories, lighting fixtures, and all the elements that create this space. If you have any doubt of which style defines your personality, you can check out my video about popular design styles right here. Furnish your space. We have defined our design style, so now we need to think about how we will use each space. In a general term, in the dining room, we develop the same activities, which is sharing a meal and moments with family and friends. But on the other hand, the living room is more versatile, and depending on how you use the space and which kind of activities you do there, you will organize and place your furniture in a specific way. That means that a family that enjoys watching TV in the living room or from a dining room while they're having breakfast, the composition of the space and how they need to place the furniture will be very different than a family that doesn't use the TV in the living room, because they might have a family room to enjoy those moments. So for that, I always say that a space should work for those who use the space, for those who live there, because how you place your furniture or the furniture of a client is a consequence of how the homeowner lives and which activities they usually do in a given space. So because each of you are different, I prepared some different choices on how to furnish your dining living room depending on how you use your room. So let's see some examples. Also guys, remember to think how you will circulate into your room. Leave enough space for walking comfortably through your area. A very important point is to define each area. That doesn't mean that we need a divider or wall. We can define our spaces through a rug, ceiling design, or some texture. A rug is the easiest way to do this in the living room. It will place an obvious border around part of the room to define it as its own zone. Depending on the size of your open living and dining room plan, you might want to put a rug under your dining table too. But just be careful if they're right beside one another. It's often wise to choose just one of the zones to anchor with a rug. Another way to define the areas is with your furniture. You can use a sofa across the room to split it in half, or a couple of ottomans or a bench to create a visual limit with your furniture. And even better, if you have different ceiling heights or you have different texture on your floor, you can take advantage of those architectural details to define your areas under the conditions. Now we have our design style, the best way to place our furniture. We know how to visually define each space. But now we must unite everything. We need to create harmony in the entire composition. Yes, we define the space, but now we need to create a cohesive atmosphere. We must make our living and dining room speak to one another without feeling too forced or too matchy-matchy. Sounds a little bit tricky, right? But it's very simple. You must choose some texture, materials, colors, or shapes, and you will use it in both areas. For example, the TV unit and dining table top can be a similar material, texture, and color. The color tones in the dining room can speak to the color tones in the ottomans or pillows. Be sure that the metals of your pen lines above the dining table speak to the color of some accessories, such as some base, furniture legs, credenza handles, or other details. Even your flowers can be in a similar color tone of some accessory, wall art, or furniture. It might seem like an accident, but every single element has been selected quite intentionally, so that when you're in the open living and dining room plan, it's feels cohesive and harmonious. I need to be clear here. Don't be afraid to select pieces with variants in color and material, but make sure they speak to another element across the room. Another important recommendation is to maintain the flow in your space. Be sure to select furniture with a maximum height below the visual angle. Can you imagine a sofa with a high back putting across a room? You will lose the connection between both areas, and the concept of a contemporary open space will disappear. And we don't want that. We want to define each space, but each one will be part of an entire composition. In a zone like this, you can have a low back sofa cutting across a room, but not a high one. A low sofa cutting across defines the zone, but your eye still glides over the sofa when you are sitting or standing up. It doesn't dominate or hinders the visual flow between your dining and living spaces. Guys, remember, if you have any question, please let me know in a comment below. I will respond to as many comments as I can. Remember to click like and to subscribe to join our design community. Follow me on Instagram for daily inspiration and to get in touch. Have a beautiful week. See you next time.